Congress just made one of the boldest and most pivotal moves in the history of American crypto regulation, and yet hardly anyone is talking about what it could mean for XRP's future. The Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act, better known as the FIT21 Act, recently passed through the House with a strong bipartisan vote, 279 in favor and 136 opposed. While the headlines may not be shouting about it, there's a key part of this bill that speaks directly to what Ripple and the XRP community have been advocating for over a decade. Tucked within the bill is language that could finally settle one of the most heated debates in crypto law, whether XRP is a security or something else entirely. For years, Ripple and its supporters have maintained that XRP should be treated as a digital commodity, not as a traditional security. Now, thanks to this legislation, that argument may finally have solid legal standing. This one provision doesn't just affect XRP holders, it could shift how digital assets are treated across the entire US crypto space. If you followed XRP's legal roller coaster, you'll remember that the SEC took a hard stance, claiming Ripple sold XRP as an unregistered security. Ripple fought back hard, and in 2023 Judge Analisa Torres delivered a landmark decision, ruling that XRP isn't a security when traded by everyday investors. That ruling was a big win for the industry, but court decisions, as we all know, aren't written in stone. They can be appealed, overturned, or interpreted differently by future judges. That's where legislation like FIT21 changes everything. Laws passed by Congress have a different weight. They become the framework that regulators must follow. And on page 87 of the FIT21 Act lies a definition that could be a turning point. A digital commodity is defined as a decentralized digital asset, not controlled by any individual or company, that doesn't grant profit sharing or governance rights, and runs on a blockchain free from centralized control. Sound familiar? It should. That's nearly identical to what Judge Torres said in her decision. In fact, the bill reads as if it had XRP in mind when it was written. Whether intentional or not, it strongly reinforces the idea that XRP is more like a digital commodity than a security, and that matters more than most people realize. Why is this so significant? Because regulatory uncertainty has been holding the crypto industry back for years. The SEC has relied on outdated legal tests, like the Howey test from the 1940s, to try and govern 21st century blockchain innovation. But now, with Congress stepping in, we're finally seeing a push toward rules designed specifically for digital assets. One of the most important aspects of the FIT21 bill is how it splits responsibilities between regulators. The SEC would still oversee traditional securities, but digital commodities, like XRP, would now fall under the authority of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission (CFTC). That's a major shift, and for XRP it could be the green light institutions have been waiting for. For years, Ripple's growth in the US has been slowed by legal gray areas. Banks and large financial players have shown interest in Ripple's blockchain-based payment solutions and the XRP ledger, but many have held back, afraid of the regulatory fog. Clear legal recognition through this bill could finally open the door for wide-scale adoption, at least in the United States. Even though the FIT21 Act still needs to make its way through the Senate and eventually be signed into law, the momentum behind it is already powerful. It signals a shift in how lawmakers view crypto. Leaders on both sides of the political spectrum are beginning to realize that ignoring or stalling crypto regulation only pushes innovation overseas. If the US wants to remain a leader in fintech, it needs to provide clarity. And the subtle but unmistakable acknowledgement of XRP as a digital commodity within this bill isn't just a fluke. It's the result of Ripple's years-long fight for recognition, regulation, and respect. This may be the most meaningful progress the company and the XRP ecosystem have seen yet. In short, Ripple's legal battle may be nearing its most hopeful chapter. A shift from courtroom uncertainty to congressional clarity could reshape not just XRP's path but the entire crypto regulatory landscape in the US. If this breakdown helped you understand what's at stake, Don't forget to like the video, hit that subscribe button and share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think FET21 is the turning point XRP needed? Can the US finally build fair crypto rules? Let's talk about it. There's another important angle we need to talk about. In the crypto world, headlines often steal the spotlight, whether it's a court ruling, a token burn, or a sudden exchange listing. These moments can cause short-term excitement, but they rarely determine long-term success. What truly builds value over time is regulation, clear, enforceable, and trusted by institutions and individuals alike. Investors need to realize something crucial here. Viral tweets and market buzz might move prices for a moment, but it's the laws that build the foundation of real value. And for the first time in what feels like forever, the US Congress is stepping in to finally lay down that foundation. To really grasp why this matters, let's zoom out for a moment. The FET21 Act, short for Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act, may not mention XRP by name, but its structure says a lot. The bill outlines a new framework that classifies digital assets, and under those definitions, XRP fits squarely into the category of a digital commodity. This is a game changer. Why? Because when regulators aren't sure how to classify an asset, they tend to default to enforcement. But when there's legal clarity, regulators are more inclined to support innovation rather than fight it. FET21 creates that clarity, giving Ripple and other legitimate projects a much stronger footing in the US, and it doesn't stop at America's borders. There are global consequences to this legislative move. Countries like the UAE, members of the European Union, and several Asian nations have already taken major steps toward establishing clear crypto guidelines. Meanwhile, the US has been lagging, relying more on lawsuits and enforcement actions than proactive policy. FET21 has the potential to flip that script and put the United States back at the forefront of digital asset innovation. For a global company like Ripple, US clarity adds an extra layer of legitimacy when dealing with international partners. One of the main criticisms Ripple and XRP have faced over the years is that their legal fight in the US overshadowed their global achievements. That's a fair point. But now, with the House vote in favor of FET21, some of that fog is starting to clear. By formally recognizing digital commodities, Congress is giving Ripple a tool not just to operate more freely at home, but to boost its image abroad. For companies, exchanges and institutions that may have hesitated to support XRP because of legal uncertainty, this new structure offers much needed reassurance. Of course, the story isn't over. The SEC could still challenge parts of this in court, and unresolved issues remain, particularly those involving Ripple's leadership. But here's what's more important: the bigger picture is starting to shift. Congress is building a new legal structure, and even the SEC will eventually have to align with it. If the FET21 Act, or any similar bill, becomes law, the SEC's ability to argue that XRP is a security could be significantly weakened or outright dismissed. This has major implications for how investors think. When people feel confident that XRP isn't